Good morning, folks. Pastor Jim Thomas from the Village Chapel here in Nashville, Tennessee, with your daily devotional. This time pulling from the Songs of Jesus by Tim and Kathy Keller, their daily reader based on the Psalms. What a great hymn book this is in the middle of our English Bibles. 150 of these ancient songs written by a wide variety of people, about half of them by King David himself. But this one I want to read today is a selection from July 20th in this book, and it is Psalm 82, which talks a little bit about justice, an important issue for our own day and time as well. You know, we often talk about the salvation of God on offer for us in terms of our relationship with God and how it reconciles us with God, and that's wonderful. It's amazing and it's awesome, but it also has impact on our horizontal relationships, on the way that we see other people, the way that we treat other people, the way that we think and interact with other people as well. Andy Bannister, who works with Ravi Zacharias Ministries up in Canada, said the gospel is more than justice and social action, but it is certainly not less. And I think he's right there. And let's read what Psalm 82 says, and then the Keller's commentary on it. And I think you'll see, get a little picture for what God thinks about justice as well. As the psalmist, this time it's Asaph, a man named Asaph, who's crying out to God for God to judge the earth and to bring justice. All right, it goes like this, Psalm 82. God presides in the great assembly. He renders judgment among the gods, the little g gods. And so what we have here, like we do with so many of the Psalms, is these are ancient songs of both revelation and response. God revealing what he wants us to know about him, and sometimes what he wants us to know about ourselves, but then also God equipping us with words to respond to him. And so we'll find both here in Psalm 82. First, the revelation part of it is God presides in the great assembly. He renders judgment among the gods, and that's so true. I mean, the God of the Bible will have the final word. We'll have the last say, as we've been seeing in the book of Revelation as well. Verse 2 is a sort of hypothetical question. How long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the cause of the weak and fatherless. Uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed. He cries out for that. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. And so there's this longing for justice. There's this longing as Asaph cries out to God to bring justice, to bring it in its fullness and righteousness. And of course, so many of us, I think, in the world in which we live as well, would love to see the injustice stopped that's in our world. We'd love to see all that's wrong set right. And that's what Asaph is crying out for as well. He says in verse 5, the little g gods, the gods know nothing. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. And so here Asaph is just talking about it in his own day and time, probably, as much as 3,000 years ago, feeling a lot of what some of you may be feeling even right now, what I feel from time to time as well. That the entire world is just turned upside down, inside out, and the things that we thought we could count on are being shaken. And we're not the first people to feel that way. We're not the first people to cry out for justice and for righteousness to come. And so it helps me to read my Bible and to find out that, oh my goodness, this ancient songwriter was feeling the same way. How did he find in his faith in God, how did he find some answer to the deepest longing of his heart? And we'll see as we get to the end of Psalm 82. But he responds by saying all of the other little g gods, they don't know anything. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. In other words, they don't have any answers. All of the other worldviews, all of the other supposed gods that this world tries to present to us, they really come up bankrupt and empty, right? And so then he says, I said, you are gods, you are all sons of the Most High, but you will die like mere mortals. You will fall like every other ruler. And then he cries out, rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. And that's so true. God is in charge. He's sovereign over all of the nations. And all of the nations really are his inheritance. They are God's to do what he wants to do with. They belong to him. Everything belongs to the Creator by right of creation. What do the Kellers say? Well, the Kellers say the gods, little g gods, could be world rulers, though this might also refer to the evil spiritual forces behind them. God, the God of the Bible, is intensely concerned for the weak, the orphan, the poor, the powerless. Christians will be moved to help the needy and the poor if their faith is genuine. And all you have to do is read. There's so many places in the Bible you could go. James 2, 1 John chapter 3. You find these instructions. You find the summons from God for us to be his hands and to be his feet and to be on the side of the poor and to care for those who are weak. And God is committed to justice because remarkably, he identifies with the poor. To oppress the poor is to disdain God. And he quotes from Proverbs 14:31 there. Only in Jesus Christ do we learn just how far God would go to identify with the poor and the oppressed. He became a poor human being who died on a cross, a victim of human injustice. That's so true. Born to a peasant couple, Jewish couple in the first century. Not born in a palace, but not born with privilege, but born as a peasant little boy to a Jewish couple in a kind of a scandalous conception and delivery, and they just identifying very much with literally anybody and everybody on the planet who was born into poverty, and then with his death, dying the victim of human injustice. That's right. He died on the cross. Remember, he took Barabbas' place as the people cried out, "Crucify Jesus, give us Barabbas." And the Roman authorities crucified Jesus. He died on a borrowed cross, smothered in borrowed sins, was laid in a borrowed tomb, and then 3 days later did to that borrowed tomb what he's going to do to my tomb and to your tomb one day. And that's why he's worthy of our trust. That's why he's worthy of our confidence and our hope. And this ancient psalm that really does describe what it means to cry out for justice points us to the God who can actually bring that about. Here's their prayer at the end of this reading. Lord, because I live in a relatively comfortable and safe part of the world and society, I'm not as sensitive to the needs of the weak as you are. Help me to hate the injustice you hate and to love the poor and the needy whom you love. Amen and amen. I pray that for us as well on this day. The Lord bless you as you start your week.